So we're gonna keep trying. But anyways, I am back. Hopefully. Oh, I don't know. I'm something. Um, and the title today is very specific. No one is going to save you. I was having this argument. Not argument. I don't argue with people. I'm not better than, but I don't argue with people. I was having this discussion about how we're on our own, bro. Like, we are on our own. And I tend to stray away from talking about politics socially, right? Like socially or even let me get this correct real quick. Let me get it right. Let me get it right here. For good reasons, avoid talking about politics or avoid talking about anything that's, I don't say controversial, but anything that's not in line with my brand. And my brand, what is my brand? I don't know what my brand is. So for the moment being, I'm just gonna talk about whatever I've been talking about in my private life that I think are worth discussion. And I think it's good topic to talk about. And I think the broader discussion will benefit other people, which is why I call the stream "No One Is Going to Save You." No one is going to save you in these United States. And I'll try my best to stray away from like the politics and talk about being independent in the mind instead, right? Um, I I fear that the vision that is happening or around the globe. I don't want to say around the globe. Let's just stick to the U.S. In the United States of America. It's either you left or you right, Democrat or Republican, and sometimes that strays you from having meaningful conversations with people. Because even if you make a good point, they are less likely to concede to that point just because it doesn't align with their beliefs or their thoughts or, the people that they are rooting for, the political party that they align with, right? Which doesn't make any freaking sense. Like, where's your common sense? Like, you don't, everything that somebody feeds you, you don't just ingest it and believe it to be true. Like, for example, whatever I'm talking about right now, if something applies to your life where you think it will benefit you, you analyze it. Everything that I'm going to say, not everything is going to apply to your life. Some of it you can reject. You are allowed to have disagreements. You are allowed to disagree. Everything that you're being fed, you're not supposed to eat it. Anyways, I think more or less my goal is to say more. I think it's happening more and more. Like Gen Z needs to be. I guess fortunately and unfortunately, I am a Gen Zer. I am part of the Gen Z generation, right? And I think that our generation is heading that way, but I think we need to be more. We need to align more with independent thinking. Like we are independent. Like we're not falling for this left or right stuff. We're not falling for, oh, this person said they're gonna do this, so we're gonna believe that they're gonna do this. I hope that's the way we're heading, because at least that's the way I feel. I I do not partake in the okay left or right. I objectively or try to objectively analyze everything that is being fed to me. Everything that either the political left or political right is telling you, you are allowed to decipher for yourself as an independent. Because I agree with some of the left and I agree with some of the right. And some of the stuff that they're pushing out from both sides is corruption. It's misalignment and it's not in the best interest of the American people, if I'm allowed to say that. For example, and this conversation is coming from or stemming from us having me having a conversation with a family member regarding, who do you trust? Who do you trust in a moment like with everything that's going on around the United States and with the Charlie Kirk and the Erica Kirks of the world and Trump and Nancy Pelosi, so forth and so on. If you keep up with politics, that is. And I think the answer is pretty simple, at least for me. No one is going to save you. I'm sorry to tell you, it doesn't matter who you vote for, no one is going to save you. Nobody. Not Trump, not Kamala Harris, not Joe Biden, not Barack Obama. Nobody. Like, you, first of all, you cannot trust all these good smelling, nice suit wearing, fancy car driving, mansion living millionaires. You are voting, literally voting people who are fighting for the best interests of their donors. Like, quite simple. Like, all these good smelling, good talking, mansion living people, when they get in there, they're not fighting for the best interests of me and you. They are fighting for the best interests, and at least that's my opinion, for the best interests of the people who donated to their campaigns, for their friends and their families. Sometimes what happens is we get lucky. Some of the, stuff fall down and we happen to benefit from the crumbs. But the majority, from my opinion or my analysis, is that, everybody that gets voted in, they tell you this big speech and they tell you all these promises and they tell you they're going to change the world, right? They're going to change the US and make things better. And it's all a lie. Like, you can trace a lot of it to being lies. And if they do pass a law that is favorable to you or favorable to the country, it's because the majority of the donors, most of the time, aligns with that view or they want that law to be passed. It's not because it's beneficial towards the general public. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not just, at least in my head, that conversation made a lot of sense. And I want it to continue making sense. Uh-oh. Make sure that I'm still streaming. All right, bet. So, yeah, it's at least for me, it's a little bit easy to say no one is going to save you. But how do we change that? I think we change that a few ways. One, I don't know exactly how we would do it, but like put some kind of limitation on how much money can be donated and from who and from what group. Maybe you have like a big pot, right? And then we have a thing or a case where if there are 5 candidates for president, we take the pot, divide it by 5, and everybody get the same amount of money to run their campaign. May the best man win. Because all these contributions, all these donors, and all these people donating money to a certain candidate because they favor that candidate is leading down to corruption, is leading down to people not doing what they said they're going to do for the population. And they're just saying things just to get voted in. Also, stop electing these old people, man. Like, I think we need a term limit, age limit even. Like, I can't work at least certain places. Like, by the time I am 80 years old, my opportunities to work are gonna be limited because I'm older. Employers, for the most part, they're not supposed to, but they look down upon older people. If you are a little bit fatter or less fit, I should say, they look down upon that. Like, it's just human nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might think you're lazy, or if you're old, although you do have experience that matters more, you have more experience, but you are less likely to be still striving or be innovative and still having that hunger. Because you're like 80, you're ready to retire. Like 60, 70, if you are 80 and still working, something might have went wrong and you're just ready to retire. Um, uh, So where am I going with this? Everything that you are doing, you are on your own. If you are waiting for the government to come and give you a handout, which is a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of people, right? Which is not normal. A lot of people have the expectation that the government is going to change things for them. They are waiting around for the government to change things for them, make it easier, soothe their burden. And unfortunately, for you and I, that is not the case, and that won't be the case for a long time. I don't think so. We need to, because in my opinion, it is because of the two-party system. Like, it's either you vote left or you vote right. Nobody is voting independently, or nobody is trying to kick these people out when they make promises to the nation and they're not keeping it. And I think that for me, I'm not big into politics, but just because I had that conversation, it just brings my mind to that conversation to say, yeah, man, like, we need more independent people. Like, fuck the left, fuck the right, be independent. Like, form your own decisions, form your own morals, of course, the environment that we live in, like, me living where I live influenced me. Because the people next to me, I hear them talk about certain stuff. The videos that I watch, the content that I watch influences me. My friends, they influence me. That's environment, right? But at the end of the day, you still have to go home. When you come home, you have the decision to make. All the stuff that you learn from your environment, do you take all of it to be true? Or do you analyze the ones that are true to you or that are beneficial to you? Because you don't have to absorb all of the things from your environment. I just wanna say that. And in case you are wondering why I say this, right? Every politician, literally, I don't know about every single one, but for the majority of politicians, they are all like just filling their pockets. I don't know the numbers or the statistics, but I see the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumer's, the Donald Trump's, the Donald Trump family, the Bidens, from what I know of, and how much money the Trumps are making off of crypto because of his presidency, and how much money they are making overseas because they can make more favorable laws for that. The big beautiful bill, some of the provisions in that, although I'm not about to read that to you right now, some of the provisions in that are beneficial towards the donors instead of the people. I'm not anti-rich. Like, just talking right now, this sounds like I'm anti-rich. I'm not anti-rich people. I think people should be rich. If you make this product, this iPhone, you should be rewarded for it, which is why capitalism is great. We reward people for being innovative. We reward people for having ideas. We reward people for creativity. That's great. But at some point, these people have to start contributing their portion, because we are all fighting for resources. You are fighting for resources with me, although you don't know it directly. The people in Africa, they are all fighting for resources with the people in Asia, so forth and so on. Every single person on earth, we are fighting for resources because there are a limited amount of resources, and everyone is growing and growing and growing. The earth at some point, well, I guess that could change because, Gen Zers are having less and less kids. And that could mean that the earth population decreases because of, constraints in economic conditions, so forth and so on. But if the earth keeps growing, let's say hypothetical. Let's take this hypothetical. The earth keeps growing. We are at 20 billion people on the planet. We're not going to all of a sudden just have more resources. It's just going to be the same amount. It's finite amount of resources. Like, we can just go create more resources, but we can create more people, more consumption, print more money, so forth and so on. We are all fighting for the limited amount of resources that exist on Earth. And all of the billionaires, they are hogging all of it. Close to trillionaires at this point, $100 billion. They are all hogging all of it. And guess what? At the end, the people at the bottom, I don't know what we're going to do. Like, I don't know what we're going to do when there's 20 billion people and there's literally not enough food for us to eat, not enough water for us to drink, not enough work. And if the vision that, the government or billionaires have for AI become true, we're not going to have enough work because all of it is going to be taken care of by AI. Unless I'm wrong. I am open to being wrong as well. But at what point does it become, okay, I understand your political views. I understand that you're left or you're right. But when are we going to make the decision that benefit the whole, the group, instead of the people who donated to you and your friends and your family? Because I've asked people that I work with, most people now, they are shy to talk about their political leanings or their political views because they don't want you to know that they support Trump. Like, for me personally, this time around, I didn't vote. I haven't voted because of George Carlin. I don't know what that joke is, but he's a very good comedian, right? I don't want to butcher his joke, but he made a joke regarding not voting. People are always trying to like push you into like, oh, you have to vote, you have to vote. And the way he analyzed it is like, no, I don't have to vote. I don't vote because I want to complain, motherfucker. Like, like this is the best we have. I gotta find that clip now because let me find the clip. Let me find the clip real quick. George. All right, here it is.
Everybody complains about politicians. Everybody says they suck. Yeah! Well, where do people think these politicians come from? They don't fall out of the sky. They don't pass through a membrane from another reality. They come from American parents and American families, American homes, American schools, American churches, American businesses, and American universities, and they're elected by American citizens. This is the best we can do, folks. This is what we have to offer. It's what our system produces. Garbage in, garbage out. If you have selfish, ignorant citizens, you're going to get selfish, ignorant leaders. And term limits ain't going to do you any good. You're just going to wind up with a brand new bunch of selfish, ignorant Americans. So maybe it's not the politicians who suck. Maybe something else sucks around here, like the public. Yeah, the public sucks. There's a nice campaign slogan for somebody. The public sucks. Fuck hope. Fuck hope. Because if it's really just the fault of these politicians, then where are all the other bright people of conscience? Where are all the bright, honest, intelligent Americans ready to step in and save the nation and lead the way? We don't have people like that in this country. Everybody's at the mall, scratching his ass, picking his nose, taking his credit card out of his fanny pack and buying a pair of sneakers.
I want to let him finish. I don't want to interrupt the clip, but it's going to explain what I mean. And when you're watching this video, think about it in the terms of having a job. That's the way I was thinking about it, at least analyzing it, whatever. When you have a job, when you're working, we all have jobs. We all have to work a 9 to 5. I'm not a fucking billionaire. Like, we all have 9 to 5s. When you are working a job, it is in your best interest to find out how much the person next to you is making. You might not ask directly, but find some way, somehow to bring the conversation about how much money they're making, just to make sure that you're not getting underpaid, especially if your experiences align. And I think more and more people are straying away from having political conversations with each other and just being honest. Like if you ask somebody who they voted for last term, they're less likely to tell you that they voted for Trump. They're gonna tell you, oh no, I don't do politics, I don't follow politics. Why not? Because it matters. It matters to you, it matters to me, it matters like about what happens to our world, what happens to our education, what happens to our kids, to our economy. Like a lot of like younger people, or at least from the people that I know who are like, making hundreds of thousands of dollars are not having kids, even though they are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're not having kids. They're instead choosing to travel. For example, I know countless people who are doing the exact same thing. And it's because we're not having the conversation as to why that is. Like, why are we doing that? Let's finish watching this though.
With lights in them. So I have solved this little political dilemma for myself in a very simple way. On election day, I stay home. I don't vote. Fuck them. Fuck them. I don't vote. Two reasons I don't vote. First of all, it's meaningless. This country was bought and sold and paid for a long time ago. The shit they shuffle around every 4 years doesn't mean a fucking thing. And secondly, I don't vote because I believe if you vote, you have no right to complain. People like to twist that around, I know. They say, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. But where's the logic in that? If you vote and you elect dishonest, incompetent people and they get into office and screw everything up, well, you are responsible for what they have done. You caused the problem. You voted them in. You have no right to complain. I, on the other hand, who did not vote, who did not vote, who, in fact, did not even leave the House on Election Day.
That's right.
I'm in no way responsible for what these people have done and have every right to complain as loud as I want about the mess you created that I had nothing to do with. So I know that a little later on this year, you're going to have another one of those really swell presidential elections that you like so much. You'll enjoy yourselves. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure as soon as the election is over, your country will improve immediately. As for me, I'll be home on that day doing essentially the same thing as you. The only difference is when I get finished masturbating, I'm going to have a little something to show for it, folks. Thank you very much.
Yeah, basically, that's the gist. Like, the more honest that we are about the people who we are electing to lead the country, the better. The more, in my perspective, the more that I can see Timmy at the bar and say, "Hey, Timmy, would you like to talk about politics?" Not exactly like that, but play along with me. Like, the more open that we can have a civil conversation, like we're just talking about how rainy it is outside, about how messed up these political systems are. The ability for Pelosi to do insider trades, allegedly, the ability for Donald Trump to set his family up to make billions of dollars are all messed up. It's not good. It's not how the system's supposed to work. And all these billionaires being able to essentially donate billions of dollars to presidential hopefuls or, campaign hopefuls or senators and mayors and so forth and so on, the worse the system becomes. Because at the end of the day, if I have a lot of money, what I will do in this system is donate a lot of it, because a lot of it is going to come back to me. Because when you donate, let's say $100 million to Donald Trump, you think that's just for the sake of donation? No, bro, nothing is free. This is America. We already know this. Nothing is free. And when somebody donates $100 million, they're expecting that money back. It's an investment. And whatever law that Trump is signing, he's not looking at it. And I don't want to just mention Trump, whoever, Obama, whoever the heck was president, whoever, whatever the president is signing, it's not just, he's not thinking about, oh, I'm going to sign this into law because it will benefit the people of the United States the most. Nah. In my mind, when these people are signing these laws, they are thinking, okay, here's donor 1, 100 million. Donor 2, 50 million. He could have done better, but I'll take it anyways. Donor whatever, 10 million. The president is signing the law to benefit the people who donated the most money, in my perspective, or in my opinion. And then, as you go down the line, somebody like me who didn't vote, I'm just left with the crumbs, just picking up the pieces. You too. Like, I don't see how we fix all of it besides, one, having a big pot. Like, if people want to donate, that's okay. Also, companies. Like, I have so much I want to dig into this. Companies. I don't think companies should. There is a law that companies are essentially people and they're allowed to be represented. So that's why companies are allowed to donate a whole bunch of money towards presidential hopefuls or campaign hopefuls, right? We should stop that. Like, no, that's a company. People who want to donate, or if companies want to donate, we can form some new committee, some new governmental branch, right, that says, okay, cool, you can donate, but for every dollar that you donate, it's going to go into this fund. And we're going to keep this fund divided by 5 or divided by 4, whoever's, the primaries are. Like the 5 finalists or the top 2. We're going to give them this money, make it last. Use it, may the best person win. And it's not basically on how much friends you have and how much billionaire buddies you have, how much influence outside that you have that will make you president. Because this whole thing is like a business, bruh. Like, it's like a business. Like, you need investors to invest into you getting into the White House. And when people do investments, they want returns. Simple. Like, if you make an investment into President Trump has to make a return on that investment. Otherwise, that investment isn't worth anything. And that's one of the most basic principles of finance. How much the present value of money. Like, if I'm spending $100 million today, I am making a calculation, or I'm making an assumption that this $100 million today will be worth more tomorrow. At least that's the way I think about it. Like, you're not just putting out $100 million just because. So, with that being said, Yeah, just a pool of money. I know this is not gonna happen, but that's just my idea, anyways. A pool of money. If you're running for president, it gets divided equally, and you cannot take any more extra funds from anyone else. That's it. That's all you get. No outside influence, none of that. And this one is a little tough. I don't know exactly how because it's anti-capitalism. Because as you people naturally wants to do better. Like I know I do, which is why I'm taking all these freaking certs and I'm going to school and I'm doing YouTube videos and I'm doing etc. People naturally wants to do better. They want to improve themselves. As long as you have the energy and the capability of doing so. Which is why capitalism works, right? We let people be creative. We let people have streams. We let people open businesses willy nilly how they like. But at some point, like, because we are fighting for resources, we gotta say, we probably gotta cap how much resources one person is allowed to have. Because if they have, 80% of the resources, they're basically running the world. Like they're basically running my lives and your life and so forth and so on. Like I don't even have 0.0000000000001% of the resources that exist in this world, right? And somebody owns like 20% plus of it. Like at some point we gotta say, okay, this is not normal because what happens is when they own all these resources, these people, even though you don't elect them to be president, they are technically presidents because they are donating those 100 millions that I keep talking about. And, they have the shoulder next to the president. They influence the president. They can make the president do things that they simply want the president to do. So, I don't know. I'm gonna lay off on this one, but I thought it was worth, I think it was worth a conversation at least. Like, and of course we can go into Pelosi and and the Trumps and looking at, there are videos out there about how much money they've made and how much, I guess, illegal money they've made based on campaign contributions or based on other factors. But that's a waste of time to me, personally. Like just watching those videos because nothing is going to change. Like you having somebody like Mitch McConnell almost dying on stage, there should be automatic firing. If you do that at work, you're fired. Like you're too old. Like you can't even stand to give a 10-minute presentation. How am I? Who? Like somebody like Joe Biden? Like you get that old? Like Trump? Like no, bro. Like you gotta go. And I hope the Gen Z generation just takes a different route. Like okay, the system is not working, but which part of it is not working? Not just for your political leanings, but for the United States of America. What's not working for the United States of America? Because I mean, it's cyclical. It's cyclical. Once Trump gets out, I'm sure a Democrat will be president, right? Because people are unhappy with the state of things, and they want somebody that would change it. And then if they're not happy again with the Democrat that becomes president, a Republican is going to become president. And it's going to repeat and repeat and recycle. And nothing changes. And it's just like the people at the bottom, we keep going further and further to the bottom. We're not making any real progress for real. At least the middle class. Like people are just getting poorer, earning less, so forth and so on. I don't know what it's worth. I think having at least a tingling into somebody's mind. Whoever might be watching this, like that one person who gets to view this video. If you don't know what you are, great. Like if you don't have a leaning, even better. But if you are Democrat or you are Republican or I don't know, it's only two. Take a real look, like especially if you are younger, take a real look around. Like how has these parties benefited us? Just those two. I think the better move is just to be independent, and call for actions that I don't want to say correct the system, because there will always be flaws in the system, but there are some that are just so egregious that we have to fix. We have to find a way, like some middle ground, to fix these issues because if they continue on, like,